Hi there and welcome to another workout where we are rowing for fitness. Now this series is perfect for people who've maybe had to take some time off due to illness, injury, or maybe work commitments. Or maybe you're kind of getting up in years, you're no longer 20 and you need to ease into these things a little bit more than the really fast stuff, all right? So as such, these workouts incorporate the entire workout. So what we do is a long, gradual warm-up over 9 minutes. We'll just get your body moving, you get ready for the workout itself. Today, we're gonna do a 12-minute workout, and then we're gonna do a 2-minute cool down and a portion of stretching afterwards to make sure your body doesn't kind of stop and be all seized, all right? So this is what makes it rowing for fitness. And the other part of it is that when it comes to the intensities that I describe, it's pretty much down to you, okay? We're gonna base this on your comfortable steady state, which is you finding a pace where you are comfortable to row at, where you just know that you can carry on rowing at that pace. You're not pushing yourself too hard. It's all down to you. So it does work for anybody, whether you're a seasoned rower that has like a 2K time of 6 minutes, this is still a good workout for you, but you have to find your own pace. I don't actually tell you exactly how fast to go. It's up to you. All right, so hopefully that takes the pressure off it. We'll make it a bit more of an enjoyable workout for you. Let's hope. Right, so we're going to get into that 9-minute warm-up, but before we can do that, we have to set up our machine. And there's two things I want you to look at. The first is the foot straps and making sure that you set them at a point on your foot that it kind of covers the widest part, the balls of your feet. Now, I'm going to say this in pretty much every workout, but the thing that I see all the time is people with their feet way too high. The strap covers the arch of their foot, and what that does is it kind of binds you up at the front of the machine, and you don't get the flexibility you need in order to get into the position you want for the rowing stroke. And that's what a lot of tightness comes from. So my advice is to set it lower rather than higher. So the strap covering like the bottom lace in your shoe is the perfect point. So adjust the height of your foot straps in order to kind of find that point, all right? And then next up, when it comes to resistance on the machine, again, I want you to find the one that works for you. But for the time being, for this warm-up, I want you to set it low, okay? So I'm just gonna row at 1 on the Aviron for this warm-up. I'm just gonna let my body move, get used to it, and then I might bump it up to like 3 or 4 for the main workout. But I want you to find what works for you, what gives you a good workout. You can feel your muscles working, but it doesn't feel too hard. It gives you whatever it is that you're looking for, all right? This is the baby bear workout. Just get whatever you want. So if you're all set, I'll stop talking and we'll start rowing. We're going to start this 9-minute warm-up off without even touching the handle. We're just going to be sliding up and down the rail to get our knees moving and just to get a little bit of movement, all right? So we're going to get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So all we're going to do is rock up and down the rail. Don't worry about how fast you're doing this. Your stroke rate's probably going to change quite a lot over this 9-minute warm-up as you kind of go through the different phases I'm going to suggest to you. But right now, all you're really doing is letting your knees pump a little bit. You're getting a sensation for rolling up and down, and you're basically just getting your body moving. It's a very easy 30-second start, it must be said. And then what we want to do next is move on to thinking a bit about posture. And what I do here is I hold on to the seat and then I kind of sit up straight against the fact that I'm holding the seat. Now, what this should do is kind of activate your lower back. But what I don't want you to do is to be fighting against your hands and therefore cause any kind of discomfort to your lower back. But just holding kind of helps you sit up a little bit more, helps me sit up a little bit straighter on the seat rather than having a curled, rolled lower back, which is what you really don't want. Okay, the next what we're going to move into is we're just going to put our arms out straight in front of us, and then we're going to just rock backwards and forwards. You'll notice that your stroke rates or your roll rates will have slowed down a little bit here because of this extra momentum you're shifting of your arms. But hopefully you can get into that forwards tilt at the front, and your body's just kind of naturally swinging forwards and backwards as you're rolling backwards and forwards on the rail here, okay? This should really feel very natural just to be tilting forwards and backwards. And now we're going to do some pretend rowing, so still without the handle. I want you just to go through the motions, okay? This is almost like Tai Chi, isn't it? And what you're doing here is the same thing, but I want you to think about this smooth, fluid moving of your arms. You can see that I'm kind of almost dancing with myself here, just on my wee own here, dancing away as I come into the front, pull into the back, and then forwards again. Just let your body glide as you're gliding up and down the rail, really. And now we're going to finally pick up the handle. So pick up your handle and just start very gentle rowing, okay? So really you're just doing what you were just doing then without the handle. I want you to do exactly the same thing, but now you've just got a tiny bit of a bite at the front of the machine as you push your feet into the foot plates and get the power, very light amount of power still, from your feet into your hands. And hopefully you've already developed that sensation of arms nice and straight at the front and only pulling at the back, because that's so important when it comes to rowing. And that's one of the reasons I want to have your resistance down at 1 for this warm-up, is so you can really get a feel for what's meant to happen and you're not fighting against the weight of your machine. Okay, and over the next 2 minutes, I want you just to kind of search for what a comfortable pace for you would be. So increase the push from your legs. Maybe get to 20, 22 strokes a minute. I really, at this stage, I'm not that fussed what stroke rate you're rowing at. I want you to find an intensity where you know you are exercising, but it doesn't feel hard, okay? So this is the point of it being a comfortable, steady state, is that ideally, if you had the fitness to maintain it, this is a pace that you could row for an hour, okay? So, in fact, I won't say that because then you might go too easy. It's one that you could, with the 12 minutes we've got ahead, you think I could definitely row at that pace for 12 minutes comfortably. And the thing that I always say is, much as I'm doing right now, you should be able to talk while you're rowing at your comfortable, steady state. You might need to wait for somebody else to say a couple of sentences for you to catch your breath, but you should be able to have a proper conversation at the intensity that you're rowing at without having to kind of say, oh, hang on, and then like be really breathing out your ears, okay? And it's kind of the same as when you're climbing up stairs. When you start to get a bit out of breath and your heart rate starts to climb, that's kind of what you're looking for. It doesn't feel like you're running a marathon or that you're cycling the Tour de France. It just feels like you're putting in some kind of exercise. Your body's definitely working, but it's not too hard, okay? And what we're going to do in 5 seconds time is we're going to break the stroke back down into its elements. So sit at the back of the stroke, legs nice and straight, and then row with your back and arms. And so that means you swing your back, pull in your arms, out with your arms, and rock forwards with your back again. So you lead the stroke with that back swing. You take up that tension of the stroke, the weight of the machine, with your back swing first, which again is why we're doing this down at resistance 1, because all you should feel is a little bite as you do this. It shouldn't really feel like a whole bunch of strain. If you are straining against the machine here, please do look at your resistance setting and lower it. This is about easing you in to today's row, about a very gentle warm-up over 9 minutes, getting you ready. This is not meant to be your workout, okay? And I don't want you to injure yourself because your ego can't handle seeing a number 1. Okay, 5 seconds to go, and we're going to do the opposite of this. One stroke here. So we roll into the front of the machine with straight arms and a forwards tilt, and then just connect your feet to the foot plates while keeping your arms straight. Why didn't I say push? Because I don't want you to push. I just want you to, it's almost like you're standing up. Okay, so again, this is why we're at resistance 1 or drag factor 1, whatever your machine has. Unless you're on a water rower, because you can't really be putting water in and out of your machine, but just be careful. But the point here is that all I want you to do is feel your feet connect to the foot plates at the same time your fingers feel the weight of the machine through the handle. I hope that makes sense, because it's a really tough one to get across. But the important thing here is that my arms have been straight the entire time for this minute while I've been kind of trying to explain this to you. Let's do one more here. And now this is where it gets a bit tricky. I want you to take one foot out, put it on the ground, and continue
with full stroke rowing. Again, don't worry about intensity. Find an intensity where you're comfortable at, a stroke rate where you can feel the rhythm. And the point here is that you're looking to roll forwards until your shin points vertical or vertically. Vertically? Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Let's take one more here. And swap feet. See if I can do this a bit quicker. Hey, that was quicker. And then continue with the other leg. And what this is doing is, because you've only got one leg in, it makes it easier to get into that compression at the front of the machine. Again, don't worry about pushing too hard here. This is about movement, it's about opening up your body. It's not about getting ready to run a 100-meter sprint. We'll do 2 more here. And then we're going to put our foot back in, so both feet are in. And for the last minute of this, we're just going to go back to that comfortable, steady state pace. And there's a chance that now that you've been through the arms and body only, and the legs only, and the single arm rowing, that because your body has now eased up a bit, maybe your range of motion has increased, that you'll look down and you'll go, oh, my comfortable steady state, my perceived effort of 4 or 5, however you want to describe it, is actually 2 or 3 seconds faster than it was before. Why is that? And it's because you've just worked a little bit on technique, you've let your body open up a bit, you're now rolling in until shins are vertical, you are connecting your feet at the same time your hands connect to the handle. We're going to take one more as we hit 9 minutes. Cheeky little stroke at the end. So, what I want you to do now is have a quick drink, but also have a little bit of a wiggle of your backside on the seat, because the pressure of your sit bones kind of sitting on your glutes is where most discomfort comes from when you're rowing and as far as your backside is concerned. So you do that for a while, make sure and have that drink, and I'll describe exactly what it is that we're doing in our main session today. Okay then, so today's workout is going to be 12 minutes long, and like I said before, the warm-up, if you want to increase your resistance, then please do, but only a little bit. So I've gone from 1 to 3 on my AVRON because I still want this to be a nice, gentle workout today. After all, it's 7:30 in the morning when I'm recording this, and I am not ready to go for a full-on workout. So the workout itself, we're going to do 4 minutes at the comfortable steady state at 20 strokes a minute. Then we're going to go up to 24 strokes a minute, and you should find your pace will increase like 3 to 5 seconds. Then we're going to take 1 minute where you can do whatever you want. All right, well, don't go off and dance or whatever, but you can either stop and have a rest, or you can go back to the comfortable steady state, or you can just do some very light rowing if you feel you need to recover after the 24s. And then we're going to do it kind of all over again, except that last minute, we're going to kind of make sure we are at that comfortable steady state. But don't worry, I'm going to talk to you through this workout and keep you right when it comes to what we're doing. So just listen to me, look at the stuff that happens on the screen, and we'll all be good. All right, so if you are ready, let's get started with today's main workout in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So 20 strokes a minute, and then once you've found your stroke rate, you can then look at your intensity and make sure that you hit that comfortable steady state. Now this might change every time you sit down on the machine, every time you go like through intervals, you might find that your comfortable steady state is slightly different than it was before. And as far as these workouts are concerned, what I'm looking for is for you to be comfortable through these stages. So if you need to adjust your intensity to make sure that you're comfortable, then that's what I want you to do. This isn't a performance plan. Performance plans are all about hitting numbers regardless of how you're feeling that day. This is about rowing for wellness, let's say, fitness, wellness, longevity, happiness, all these good things. Then it's not about crushing you into the ground. So we're a minute in, and I'm hoping by now you have found your rhythm for 20 strokes a minute. But if you haven't, don't worry, you can just follow me. So drive when I drive, recover when I recover. And what you should notice is that my drive phase is a lot quicker than my recovery. In fact, it's 1 second drive, 2 seconds recover. And I am also never stopping. So I don't hold the handle against me at the back. I mean, I'll hold a lot against me, but I won't hold the handle against me. I don't stop at the back. Everything's always in constant motion. And this helps create flow. And flow is really important, not just when it comes to your rowing performance, because it gives you consistency and you can control what you're doing, but also comfort. And you're less likely to get little injury niggles if you are easy and flowing through your stroke rather than kind of ragged and jerky and like really stop-starty. So if you can find this flow, arms straight at the front as your feet connect into the machine, hold the forwards tilt if you can, if you have the flexibility, let your legs do the work, then swing your back, and finally pull in your arms. Remember those drills we did in the warm-up? That's why, to get that sequencing right, that you only pull at the back. And then if you can then let the handle come away from you again as you finish, smoothly and naturally, tilt forwards, then bend your knees to roll forwards so that your shins are pointing vertically again. Then hopefully you will feel your body just ease off and there'll be no tension. And this is where the real no impact side of it comes from. Because if you stop and you're jerky all over the place, you are still putting some kind of muscle impact in. Right, we're going to take one more stroke, then we're going to increase our stroke rate to 24. So to do that, push a little bit harder with your feet, and then at the back of the stroke, you let the handle come away and recover a little bit faster as well. It shouldn't feel like a world of change. Sorry, messed up my word there. It shouldn't feel massively different here. But you should just be that little bit faster for your stroke rate. And like I say, if you look at your timer, whatever you have your monitor set to show your pace, you should see that for this minute we're doing at 24, you're rowing a bit faster. I'm definitely 6 seconds faster. But I'm going to take one more stroke here, and this is where you can stop, have a drink for a minute if you want, or really back off the intensity if you want, and just do some very light rowing. You can even put the handle down again and just do that rocking up and down, or like I'm doing, you could just find that comfortable steady state effort again, because what you're looking for with this comfortable steady state is that you can return to it and your body goes through an active recovery. So although you're still being active, the intensity is at a point where your heart rate is able to drop from that little bit higher through the 24s to something a bit more comfortable. And then in 2 more strokes, we're going to properly hit that comfortable steady state. So here we go then. So I want you to just find that comfortable steady state for me, please. And then we're going to do the 3 minutes here. Then we're going to do the 4 minutes here. followed by another minute at 24, and then another minute just to get us into the cool down. I can only apologise for the silence you just had to experience, but I was frantically doing maths in my head, trying to work out if I'd programmed. I'm like, hang on, does this make this a 13-minute workout? This is the downside to doing these at 7 o'clock in the morning. So, in case you're wondering, I'm using these as a springboard to my day. So this is why I'm filming these nice and early. So I'm getting up, have a quick cup of coffee, and then I come out and record these at this nice gradual warm-up intensity into a comfortable row that isn't pushing me, but is definitely working me. So I get a nice portion of exercise in the morning, and then I'll go have some breakfast. I think I'll have banana on toast today, in case you care. and then I can go about my day already energized, because I still work from home. I'm lucky enough to still be able to do that. And the danger of doing that is that I wake up, I pour myself a cup of ambition, and then I just wander into my office, start the day's work, and then that's it until kind of lunchtime, when I do my first workout of the day. And it's not really the best way to wake up, just especially because even though I've got a standing desk, I do still tend to sit down for a couple of hours in the morning. And so my body just seizes up on me. Really tight hamstrings, really tight hip flexors as a result of sitting. So these morning workouts really do set me up perfectly for the day ahead. And hopefully, no matter when you do your workout, you'll feel the same kind of results in terms of your body just easing off and kind of almost saying thank you. Thanks for the workout, especially because these ones have the stretching sessions built into the end. I'm not just patting you on the backside and telling you to go off and stretch. We're actually doing it together. So it's a good all-round workout that, depending on the length of the main workout, should never really be longer than an hour, I think. I'll have to think about that. All right, back to the rowing. One more stroke, then we're going to take it up to 24 strokes a minute again. So, push a little bit harder, recover a little bit faster. And just to say, that's the other thing with this Rowing for Fitness series, is that although I am going to talk technique and all that stuff in the row, because it's important that you're reminded, or maybe this is your first time, you've seen one of these workouts, and so I want to make sure and get it across. I'm also going to go back to my proper RowAlong roots and just talk to you. Keep you company for the workout. There's no point me barking at you to go faster or whatever, because that's not what these workouts are about. So I'll say now, if you're not interested in me working from home and stuff, you maybe picked the wrong series. Oh, it's more interesting than that. What am I saying? Okay, one more here. Let's go back to that comfortable, steady state. 20 strokes a minute. And we're just going to do this for a minute as a way to ease in to the cool down. Because like I said, got a cool down at the end anyway, so there's no point stopping and having a rest like we did last time. That would be silly. That would turn it into a 3-minute cool down. although maybe you need that 3 minutes. I think as these workouts do get a little bit longer, don't know how long to stretch them up to. I was thinking 30 minutes being the longest one, but do let me know if you'd rather have longer workouts. I'm more than happy to comply. Comply? Can't think of a better word, it's too early. Okay, let's take one more word. One more stroke. Oh, good grief. I mean, I held it together almost right until the very last thing, and then I got it completely wrong, didn't I? So, have another quick drink, have a little bit of a wiggle of your backside. Okay, and as long as you're ready, I hope you're ready, because, well, I can't see you. We'll get into a 2-minute cool down, and then we'll do some stretching. So the cool down, we're going to start at the intensity we just stopped at, and then we're going to gradually slow down over the course of 2 minutes. If you want to reduce your resistance again, please do. It's up to you, okay? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. So, I mean, my heart rate is up, my breathing rate is up. I think for me, this was exactly the workout I wanted it to be. You may have read about zone 2 heart rate training or maffetone heart rate training. And I really think down at this 12-minute duration anyway, because there wasn't enough time for cardiac drift to happen, that's the heart rate area that I was in. I could see I was in zone 2 the whole time, even through the 24 strokes sections. Because they were so short, my heart rate didn't climb too much. It climbed, but not massively so. And so this is perfect to set me up for the rest of the day. Or if you are rowing to get back into fitness or to become fit, maybe you've never exercised before and this is your first jaunt into it on the rowing machine, then it could be that those 12 minutes were like, you're like, why is this guy saying that was easy? That was tough. And it's not meant to be tough, but I also get that 12 minutes on a rowing machine can be a long time for people. I'm just used to rowing like hour-long sessions and stuff, so sometimes I forget. In fact, when I had COVID a couple of years ago, that was a great eye-opener for what it's like to come back into rowing, which is why I've got the Zero to Hero series up here that kind of takes you through like a 5-minute workout and builds you up. Because I really opened my eyes to just how little energy it's possible to have. Okay, last stroke here. So, we're going to get into some stretching next. And what I'll say is what I'm going to say every single time on this. This is what I do, okay? This is how I stretch the various muscles in my body that we're going to go through. If you have a better way, if you've got someone that's told you how to stretch your hamstrings and things, do it the way you've been told. Don't just follow this oaf just because I'm doing it on screen, all right? So, like I say, this is how I do me. So, if at all you feel uncomfortable, or if you're like, oh, that's not right or whatever, then stop and then speak to someone who can actually look at you and then will say, oh, no, this is the best way for you to stretch your hamstrings, etc. All right? There we go. That's your disclaimer, let's call it. So I've just loosened my straps off very slightly so that I can flick my toes back against them because I'm going to stretch my hamstrings first. So with toes braced against the straps, hands in the air, and then hinge forwards. Now, the key there is hinge, right? So because I have just hinged and I've not rounded my lower back too much, I know it's not perfect, but as I did that hinge forwards, I could feel my hamstrings stretch. I could feel all, like my sciatic nerve stretch as well as I do so. Especially if you tuck your chin down, you really get your, because of flicking your toes back, and then your chin down, that really does stretch your sciatic nerve. So that can be a good thing or a bad thing. Must be said, some people, like if you have sciatica, you might be like, I'd rather not do that. So, but anyway, if you do it this way and you've got that hinge forwards, you should feel a nice stretch into your hamstrings, all right? So it's one that is best done for a lot of people on the ground. So as we go through this series, if you're like, excuse me, that doesn't work for me, then just kind of sit down on the ground and do it instead. So we're going to do glutes next. So I take my feet out, put one foot in the middle of the foot stretchers if you're able to. Maybe you have to put it to the side, who knows. Bring the other foot over so that your ankle sits inside the kind of the crook of your knee. Hopefully that makes sense. And then bring that knee across your body so you have a straight line between your face, your knee, and your foot. Hold that knee in place with your other arm. Hiya. And then if you hold on to the back of the seat, or somewhere in the seat, or the back of the machine or somewhere, that should anchor you so you can then rotate round, still holding this knee across your body, because if you let go of the tension there, you'll lose the tension for your stretch. But as you rotate round, you should then feel that you get this glow, this radiating glow of a stretch that kind of comes up through your glutes. Okay, so I can feel it's kind of coming up slightly that way, it's kind of coming up underneath and that way. It's almost like fingers of stretch. I can feel the main glute itself is obviously going rah, getting stretched, but I can also feel it's kind of ebbing out, and I can just get this little, where like the muscle kind of continues and get a nice little stretch there, all right? Let's change feet onto the other side, and I'm afraid I'm gonna have to show you the back of my head for this. So same thing, bring the knee across your body with, you can see, can't you? So foot's and the ankles against the crook of the knee and stuff. Knees across your body so you have a straight line between your face, your knee, and your foot. Hold it in place with, I mean, some people put the elbow to the outside if you're doing proper yoga, but I just hold it in place. And then grab onto the seat and rotate against it, and you should feel that stretch. Now this is one where you might need an element of discovery to find out how that rotation works best for you. This is one that definitely you need it helps to have a good posture, to be kind of sitting up nice and tall as you do it in order to help that rotation come round and get into that glute. And you might find as we go through this series that you'll either have to stretch more to get a better stretch, or different parts of your glutes will like fire with that kind of, like I was saying about that kind of, that glow of a stretch. As you stretch it off, you'll find that, oh, that's a bit better, but then another part of it will get a little bit more. You never know. So we're gonna move on to quads next. For this, I stand up. Now, hopefully, if you have a better way to stretch your quads, please do it however you do it, because I stand up and then I kind of hold on to the machine. Apologies if my head's just gone out of screen. Hold on to the screen for balance, and so because balance is an issue here, if you have any chances of falling over, then maybe find a better way to do your quads. But while holding on one finger on the monitor just for stability, I then flick my foot behind me and then hold my heel against my backside. Okay, so you can hopefully see exactly what's happening. And then that gets a nice stretch down into my quads. Now again, this is one where you just need to be a little bit careful depending on your flexibility as to, do you have the range of motion to be able to do this? If you don't, then I recommend reading up on other ways that you can stretch your quads. Like you can do basically similar to this, but lying down. And that way you're not having to, because like if you're out here standing up, that really causes balance issues. So maybe being on the ground, if you don't quite have the range of motion to hold your heel against your backside, might be better for you. So I'm going to turn around slightly so again you can see exactly what's going on. So sorry again for seeing my backside, but again, one finger resting on the monitor for stability, flick up the heel, hold it against my backside, and I'm going to throw caution to the wind by taking my hand off the monitor. Because there is an element here that if you do have enough stability that you can do this while standing on one leg, it is actually good for you because it works the stabilizing muscles in your ankle for the foot that's still on the ground, as you have to kind of wobble all over the place in order to kind of keep yourself stable. So if you can do it without having to hold on to the monitor all the time, there are benefits. Says he almost falls into the monitor. But if you have any concerns at all about being able to do this on one leg, please do hold on to the monitor. Right, we're going to move on to hip flexors next. So hopefully you can see this. Again, I apologize if I've come off screen. I need to zoom out in the camera, I think. I've got one leg, so one knee is on the ground, foot behind me, toes flat on the floor, and that gives me a nice 90-degree angle on the back leg. Then I've got one foot in front of me with knee up, so it gives me a nice 90-degree angle. See, two 90-degree angles. And now all I'm going to do is push my body forward. So I'm going to try and keep a good posture in my lower back here, and then push my body forwards. And then what this does is it opens up the angle of the back leg and closes off the angle of the front leg, and then gives me that great stretch through my hip flexors. And then if I put one hand in the air and then lean slightly backwards, as I'm doing this, then I really do focus into that hip flexor. Now I'm kind of resting one hand on the seat here just for stability, because again, you don't want to see me falling over. You shouldn't need to, I mean, ta-da-da. But the good thing about resting one hand here is it means that you don't have to activate your quad of the leg that is in front, because that really shouldn't be feeling anything here at all. This should be all about that hip flexor. Let's change feet. So this is exactly the same thing, 90-degree angle at the back, 90-degree angle at the front, toes on the floor for me. If you want to have your toes up, then please do, but toes on the floor for me. And then send your body forwards, keeping a good posture. You're not rolling over with your lower back. I'm not going to demonstrate because that'll actually hurt me. So, and then one hand reaches up and slightly backwards, and that should really open up your hips, open up your hip flexors. And you might feel it a little bit in your quads as well. Like I say, sometimes it's like it reaches out into other muscles as it kind of is. Everything's linked. You know how your body works. And this should help your hip flexors. And like I said, because I sit at a desk for the rest of the day, or stand for portions as well, then my hamstrings and my hip flexors are what really suffer from doing that. So these hip flexor stretches are vital just for day-to-day. So even if you're not rowing, then it's a good idea to do these stretches before bed, as long as it's comfortable, because it's usually good if you're a little bit warm before you do these, okay? You don't just kind of stretch a cold muscle. That's where injury can happen. Next up, we're going to do forearms, okay? So there's a 12-minute row, had a little bit of some intensity, so chances are your forearms took it a little bit right in here from pulling on the handle. So we're going to pray, so hands together in front of you, and then while still pushing your hands together, like properly push them together, bring them down in front of you, and continue to push them together. And so your forearms should be parallel to the floor at this point. And as you're pushing your hands together, you should feel that kind of radiating stretch go through your hands, through your forearms. Sorry, I was too busy thinking about what we were doing next. Completely fluffed what I was saying. Your fingers might get a little bit of stretch as well because of what you're doing, as will your wrists, but really this is about your forearms, all right? Next up, let's do shoulders. So I want you to put your hand straight out in front of me, so point at the screen, and then bring it across your body, and then use your other arm to loop up over your elbow, and then you'll be able to add more rotation to your shoulder by kind of pulling on this one. Again, this is one to just kind of discover what's enough, what's too much. We don't want to go anywhere near too much. So this is like a little alien hand now. Hello, hello. And just kind of find that stretch as you move your arm across your body. So if you keep your upper body, like all of your body moving forwards, but your shoulder is going, or your arm is still going that way and rounding yourself, that's where the stretch comes from. So again, so I'm facing the camera, hand straight in front of me, comes across my body, try not to hit the monitor, loop it along, and you can see that my body isn't rotating as I do this. It's my shoulder is being kind of moved further back than, because naturally that's as far as I can go. Whereas I can then get an extra, quite a good extra rotation by using my other arm, and that will ease things off. Chances are the reason that was as far as I could go was because my shoulder is so tight. And so over time, as I ease off, I'll be able to get a natural rotation even more. So, because I've been rubbish at stretching over the past few months, where I've just, just rubbish. I mean, I was kind of searching for an excuse then, and then, apart from just being a stupid boy, just been rubbish at stretching. So I'm really glad that I'm making this series again, so I can get all these stretching sessions in at the end, which will help everything else that I do, I hope. Anyway, so right, that's the shoulders done. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to do a little bit of back mobility. So this is getting back on the floor. Hopefully you may have seen this one if you've ever been anywhere near yoga. But we're going to do cat-cow. So you want to find like a tabletop position, which is your hands underneath your shoulders and knees, or your hips are stacked over your knees. So you're in a nice kind of like, you'd be like a table. Someone could put their beer on your back. And then what you're going to do is you are going to look up and then also send your backside up at the same time. And so this should create a curve in your back, so that as your belly is basically pointing down to the ground. And then we're going to do the opposite of this, where you tuck your hips underneath, you tuck your chin into your chest, and you're looking down, and you've rounded your back, you're sending your back up to the sky. And then we're going to go back into cow. I think I've got these the right way around. Is this a cow pose? Why would this be a cow pose? Do cows have divoted backs like this? I'm editing a farming program right now. I'm going to take a look at a cow and see if this is what they look like. And then cats. Cats obviously don't like this, but I suppose they do stretch like this, don't they? When I look at my cats and they wake up in the morning, they're all like, "Rrr." Don't know why they just made the noise of a dog, but anyway. Right, so continue. So look up. Your hips roll, so your backside feels as though it's pointing up. And you've got a nice curve to your back going down. And we'll do one little final cat. You could, of course, every time I do these, you can go through this a lot quicker than me. I get too busy caught up in talking that I forget to change. So there we go. There's other things you can stretch. You can do you can open up your chest a little bit by standing against the wall and pushing against it. But they're the kind of the core ones that I do. There's tricep stretches and bicep stretches that you can do as well, which I might roll in further down the program on this. But for the time being, I think we've done enough. If you want to learn how to do a bicep or tricep stretch, then hopefully the internet will sort you out in the meantime. But basically, triceps is just do that, and biceps, put your hands behind you, rotate your thumb outwards. There you go. I saved you from having to go into the internet. You can just look at cat memes instead, or cows. Go, do they really have that divot to the back? I'm going to shut up now. So this is just a taster of how random these things can get. But yeah, so hopefully that was a good workout for you. A nice warm up, a good workout, good cool down and stretching session at the end. Should set you up for the day. Should help you in terms of that wellness and the vitality thing. It might not be about performance, but it will be about getting you into a place where eventually you could then think about performance. All right. So thank you so much for joining me for this row. I really hope you enjoyed it. Get in touch and let me know if you did or not, or if you have any questions, if you've got any feedback, if you have any recommendations, other than please shut your mouth, because you know that'll never happen. All right, so until the next video, please take care of yourselves. Row well, be well. Bye-bye.